In this episode, we are joined by Cleto Rodriguez as he shares his journey as a stand-up comedian and TV personality. You're listening to the Good Gossip Podcast.
Welcome back to the Good Gossip Podcast. I'm Todd Revis.
I'm Melissa Elizondo.
And Melissa Elizondo, you are amazing.
Why?
Because you got our guest this week. Because I was like, we should get Cleto Rodriguez. And you were like, he's my friend. I'll get him.
Yeah, I was like, I have
did.
his wife's number. Let me see if I can book him. And I totally booked everything through your wife.
Nice.
Did you really?
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, you're like, he's
I
coming
didn't talk
on.
to him at all.
That's great.
Yeah, we normally record on Saturday mornings.
Okay.
But you had a busy schedule doing whatever Cleto does.
Just trying to collect air. Trying to stay alive.
Trying to breathe.
And then we had you walk up the stairs to get here.
Yeah, that's true. And so I don't know how recently that was, but I know that you had COVID and you were pretty bad off.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was in, I got the COVID pneumonia. I didn't even know that was a thing. And I was in the hospital. I was in there in late July, and I got out in August, and it was just
3 months ago.
so it was just, I mean, I'm still recovering. I'm about 95% is what I feel like it.
Okay.
And got off my oxygen a few weeks ago, and
So you're literally carrying around oxygen?
I was carrying around a little thing of oxygen, and I didn't go anywhere. Like, I just like
Like
didn't
the
want,
zoo?
I didn't want anybody just like feeding me and like throwing dimes and si se puede and that kind of stuff. I didn't want any of that going on. So I just kind of stayed in the car and like, yeah, I'll take a jumbo jack with cheese. And you know,
That's probably not a good idea.
well, no, it wasn't, because inflammation is what they tell me. But they keep we're trying to bring the swelling down, Mr. Rodriguez. Well, I'm just like that.
Makes me feel better.
Yeah, so,
I'm emotional eating.
Exactly what I felt like. I mean, the hospital food, let me tell you,
Oh.
I was getting all the hospital, they took care of me, but the hospital food, I was wondering for the first 4 days, like, why am I getting all this stuff that's pretty bland? Like, there's no, like, that guy got a burger and I didn't. And I'm looking through the glass. I'm like, well, hey, what's going on? You know, how's he getting a burger and I'm not? And they go, oh, because he's not on see that little line right there on the wall? Somebody put diabetic.
Are you
I
diabetic?
go, well, yeah, but they didn't have to put it up there. You know what I mean? It's like, kind of ruined the whole gig for me.
Yeah.
You know? Kind of.
You're really trying to get away with something.
Yeah. I was like,
that same thing. I had a heart attack 8 years ago, right? And I was here in the hospital. And the dietitian, when you have a heart attack, they give you a specific diet,
yeah.
right? So you can order from the menu, and it was kind of cool. Like, I was like, oh, I got a menu. I was like at Denny's, and I'm like, I'll have 2 scrambled eggs.
Yes,
And this.
yes.
And I was picking, and then they bring it to you, which is
when I
awesome.
found that out.
That's awesome, right? Because you're like,
yeah.
now I'm like staying in a hotel, and this is room
this
service.
was great.
But I was ordering English muffins because I like English muffins. But then I was like, I've had English muffins for like 2 days. I'm going to have a country biscuit, like
That's
you
right.
know. And they said,
Yeah,
no biscuit for you.
they-
I was like, why? And they said, it's not on your diet. And that's when I realized I was being locked down to a
I
certain
asked for an
extent.
extra pudding. And they said, nope, no pudding for you, sir.
Nobody for you.
No pudding for you. And I was like, okay. But yeah, when I found out about the menu, I started ordering. And you order stuff you don't normally get.
Yes.
I'll take pancakes for 200, thanks. And, you just kind of.
And
really,
you're just assuming you're never going to have to pay for that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Well, I mean, it's first of all, I was kind of already scared as it was because I didn't even know I was going to make it. You know what I mean?
these were all your last meals.
You're thinking like, well, because this is what happened. I asked when I got there the first day. I mean, I asked the nurses and the doctors. I said, they're so immune to everything that goes on in ICU and the deaths and everything. Like, it doesn't even bother them. I asked this one nurse. I said, what are the chances of me getting out of here? They go, I kid you not. This is what the guy said. About 50-50. You want some more towels?
Oh
my God.
And I'm like, no, I'll take a banana split. If I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nope,
Let's
not
make
on
that
your
big.
diet.
You know,
I was
we're
like,
not
come
making
on.
fun of that.
No,
you
seriously.
said that
And
already,
again,
and
it's
a
like,
real
yeah.
deal.
For me, it's like with me, I'm getting ready to do a comeback show. And someone
I thought
asked
this
me.
was his
This is pretty much the premiere, the prelim.
That's
And
great.
and they asked me in interviews, are you gonna make fun of COVID? No, I'm not gonna make fun of COVID. You know, that's the real deal. Like, and people have lost lives, and that's just not me. But I'm going to talk about my experience with it, and that's the part that's kind of hilarious because stuff I didn't think I'd ever go through. And for comedians, we find a way.
Yeah, you look for stuff.
To because you're there. I mean, I'll be honest. The first 4 days I was there, I was petrified. I was scared out of my mind. I didn't even know. I forgot I was a comedian. Like, I didn't get my sense of humor back till the 5th day, where I was able to sit up on a chair.
Everything was serious.
And everything was serious. Like, it was just kind of like I didn't sleep for like 2 days straight. You know, after I heard that from the doctor, I'm like, okay, I don't want to even close my eyes. And but it was rough.
So you were talking about being a comedian. You see the funny in everything, I assume, and that's how you cope.
That's how comedian we deflect with humor. I mean, we don't serious situations for a lot of comedians that I know, including myself, that we just you know where I'll be honest with you, the funniest. You know where I'm the funniest at a funeral. I kid you not. My mom, bless her heart, rest in peace. When she passed away, my family made the biggest mistake and asked me to host the rosary. No. The rosary. I'm like, okay,
y'all know.
They can't. Everyone's sitting there.
Y'all know I'm a
and I said,
living.
folks, I want to thank you on behalf of the family for coming to pay your respects to my mother. And if you came tonight and she owed you money, and I turned around, I looked at the caller. Well, you came on the wrong day.
Oh, day late.
Yeah. Oh man, everybody. I had people come up to me. Can you do my mom and dad's funeral when they die? I never laughed so hard. If I would have known you were going to do an act, I would have brought more people. I mean, are you selling merch?
I would have charged tickets.
Are you selling merch afterwards? And I was just like, when's the next gig? What time?
But you know, I get that. And I think maybe I have it in my blood because I deflect too. And so whenever things get too heavy, I make a joke. That's my first go-to. It happened at my grandmother's funeral.
You're going to be a comedian.
Maybe when I grow up. Which we don't have to worry about
anytime
soon. But I remember my grandmother's funeral, and I think I was like 18 or 19, something like that. And I had an uncle that was really funny, and he had us cracking up in the back room where the family was waiting to go out to it was a Baptist funeral. So it was just like, everybody hang out here at about 10:30. We're going to go out and sit in the front few rows and knock this thing out. Well, he had us laughing, and we were just telling jokes. And I don't remember laughing that hard at that point in my life. And for me, that was healing, and it was displacing.
That's what it is for me. I mean, I heal, and everybody copes with loss in different ways. I mean, there's some that just, they want to go in the ground with them, and then
come see them every day.
Yeah. For me, making people laugh, it just takes me to that. And that's the way my mom would have wanted it gone. Just with laughter. She was my biggest fan. And,
so were you doing that as a teenager? Were you doing that 10 years old? Like where did this start?
Oh man, let's see. It started probably when I was younger. I would be at family get-togethers, and it was not so much. I just made people laugh. I would make fun of my cousins and my aunts, and
roasting them,
roasting them bad, like really bad. Like my brother, he didn't really know how to spell, and he would call me a name, and I said, "Well, spell it," and then he would get all upset, He was like, "Stop telling me that," and I'm gonna tell Dad. Well, spell Dad. It's like I just kept going at him, and my brother, bless his heart, he had a little bit of his mouth would go like that when he's talking. I went to town. I was like, "What are you saying? Go like this," And I goes, but it matches lazy eye, so it was just crazy. And my dad. People ask, do you get your humor from your mom or your dad? And I go, well, both. I mean, they're just two funny people. Like I had a fan ask me one time, why don't you ever talk about political stuff, topical stuff? And I said, because I will if my family stops talking. I go, but they don't, and I just keep writing.
Too much material.
It is too much stuff there. My dad and my brother and everybody there. It's just too much material.
See, I didn't really know much about you other than Where's Cleto?
You're not missing much, really.
you do a lot of on location stuff. I know on Facebook you see Where's Cleto and people try to guess where you are, and that's a gimmick that you've been doing for a long time. That's kind of put you on the map.
I did that for about 9 years, and then what was that? They let me go. I think it called fired. Yeah, fired. I think it's one. I think that's what they said. And but they were going through budget cutbacks like everybody else, and I knew my time was coming up. 9 years, I've been there a long time. I had a fun time, met a lot of great people, a lot of good people out there, out and about. I mean, just here. I mean, how I met
Yeah,
you
that's how
guys.
we
That's
met
how we
you.
met.
And
Yep.
it's just I met some.
So you're
really
not
good
doing that
people.
anymore.
No, I'm not doing that as of last March. Matter of fact, I'm making a T-shirt to sell. It's 2021. Happy New Year, they said. I got fired, I got COVID, and I got hacked. So,
Oh, no.
yeah, and I had to get a new Facebook account. They got me good, too.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they hacked me pretty good.
I was wondering why I had just friended you the
Yeah.
other day. I was like, I
Yeah,
thought we
the
were
only good
friends
thing
already.
about it now is it says Cleto Rodriguez.
Yeah.
It used to be C-Rod.
Yeah, yeah,
And that was my personal one.
yeah.
They got me really good. I mean, and then whoever hacked me started asking my friends for like $500, $700, and I'm like, my friend calls me up, goes, "Is this really you?" And no, bro, it's not me.
Yeah.
Like,
I go,
got
the
an
most I'm gonna
Amazon
ask for is
show.
a number 3 rancher plate at Bill Miller's, and that's it. You know me.
Yeah,
Three meat, right?
Yeah, 3 meat. Come on.
yeah.
If you want to throw a brownie in, that's great. But it's like,
I mean,
I'll pay for the tea. Just
it's refills.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was just I did that, the worst Cleto bit, and I just enjoyed it. I miss TV. I'll be honest, I do miss TV.
So you're not doing any of that?
No, now I'm
For
just
some reason I still.
now I'm just
So
doing
you're
strictly
stand-up?
stand up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Comedy.
cool. That's awesome. And I happened to find him like a week ago, like I was telling you before. I was just like going down one of those YouTube rabbit holes, looking at comedians, and there you were, and it was part of the dry bar. No, what's it called?
Oh, Dry Bar?
Dry bar, right? Yeah. And it was,
You're the one. I was wondering who it was that went to my.
and
my
so I
clip.
literally watched the whole thing, and I thought, I don't know, I thought it was newer, but it was hilarious, and I sent it to. Did I send it to you?
You sent
I
it to me,
texted
but
you
I
and
had
said,
seen
he's
it
actually
already.
funny.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he's a real comedian.
He's actually funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
My sister, it like just hit her. I've been doing stand up now for about going on 22 years, and she saw my stand up. Or no, one of her friends saw my stand up on my special last year that came out on Amazon Prime.
That was the one I saw.
And my sister goes, "You're pretty big. You're
Yeah.
pretty funny." I go, I've been trying to tell you for years now to come to my show. And she's like,
That's
"Oh, all my
hilarious.
friends at work were like, your brother had me rolling, and
Yeah.
man, I was crying, and I didn't even feed my kids, and
So you said something earlier about a comeback show.
Yeah, actually, I have. So I was in the hospital for about 3 weeks, and then I was at home recovering for close to 2 months now, I believe. And just now I got the okay to go and perform again from the doctor, and my lungs they were really damaged during the virus, and I had to recover from that first. And I got booked in the gig in Boston, but I couldn't go because I couldn't fly yet. And but now I got my own comedy venue last year, and it's at my buddy's Mexican restaurant because I like to keep it real, and I like to go ahead and have food around, So it's dinner and the show concept. I've always loved the intimate crowd. I always loved doing shows there, and
What's the name?
Where is it?
it's called Las Chiladas Mexican Restaurant, and it's 2387 Northwest Military Highway.
Okay.
And
Chavano
it's
Park area,
November,
kinda?
November 12th and 13th. And it's 2 shows. We're going to be recording for my next special that
Nice.
night. So I'm still looking, I'm kind of up and down on the title of it right now. It's like, I wanted to call it my life funny perspective, and because I have a whole new perspective on life
Yeah.
after that ordeal.
Okay,
So.
my question though is, how did you get a special? Because obviously, I've known you were stand up. I've known for the last 5 years. I met you 5 years ago.
We got the Amazon one.
Yeah.
Oh, the Amazon Prime special was really cool because my buddy John Andrade, he's my business partner. He had been pitching it to everyone, and Netflix, they just they keep giving the same people the same specials. You got to be a big name for them to go ahead and do so. Amazon took a chance and said, well, like, I don't know if they were like, we need something, and I didn't care. I was like, you know what? And they looked, and someone said, hey, he's pretty funny, and let's put this out there. And I wind up doing that at my buddy's church because we were finding a venue, and we
Kind
did
of like us, just looking
yeah,
for
yeah.
somewhere.
We're just like, we'll be at the back of. I mean, that's when I first.
And the first 30 minutes was worship music.
Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
first 30 minutes is like that's his cousin.
Yeah.
So he had his cousin on performing, and I had to tell everybody,
He was seriously
wait
doing
through the
worship music?
concert.
The first 30
I'm
minutes was worship in a
after
church.
the concert, and sure enough, I finally got on and I saw it, and a lot of people were like, "How can we edit this singing stuff out?"
I did
Just
fast
get it.
forward.
Yeah. So,
I listened for a
lot of
while,
people-
and then I was like, when is he coming
they're
on?
actually it's a Christian group, Josh Lopez band. They've got Grammys before, and he's toured all over the world, and to have him on there was a blessing. It was really nice. And
Well, that's the
it was
thing
really
about
cool.
you is that you're when I texted her and I said, man, he's actually really funny
And he's
stand up, and
clean.
she said,
Yeah.
and he's clean. And so
Yeah.
is that a thing on purpose?
Yeah, it's a
Or
thing
was that
on
because
purpose.
you were in a church?
No, no, no. I take a bath, and I like to be clean.
'Cause I've
when I
noticed you're
can.
very clean.
Yeah, it's cologne, it's soap. No, I actually no. I was about when I first started doing stand up. I was I grew up with Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Lenny Bruce, Cosby, Sinbad, and I knew that I saw Pryor, and I said I can do that. I want to do that. And about 24 years old, I had the guts to go up and do an open mic. And I mean, F-bomb here, F-bomb there, the whole nine. And then a comedian in San Antonio got a hold of me and said, look, well, why don't you do your act clean? And, and he talked me into doing it clean. And then there was a part of me that wanted to set myself apart from everybody else, every other Latino comedian that was in town and coming through town. I noticed that they were all dirty. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to separate myself and work really hard. And not to mention I married a Christian woman because that
keep
she
you on
wasn't having
straight.
none of that stuff.
Yeah.
She was like, nah. And I tried to bring her to the dark side, but she wasn't having any of that. And, but
Good.
yeah, I just wind up, my whole life changed. I wind up going with my wife to church. And I literally quit comedy for 4 months, kind of get myself right with God, because I think he wanted me at the clubs. And sure enough, the day I wind up, my wife goes, you really need to go show people what God's doing in your life now and the blessings that he's given you, and just not care, And I mean, comics can be cruel because you're like, you want to tell everybody about your newfound faith and find out nobody wants to hear about that.
Well, think about
It
you
was
and
crazy.
your brother and you're making fun of all your family
Oh,
growing
yeah.
up.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all their instinct is like, oh, we found something to make.
Karma came back big time on me. I'll never forget, my wife at the time gave me one of those WWJD bracelets. I took it to the comedy club, and I'm there at the bar waiting to get me I was going to order a soda, and my buddy goes, yeah, man, I'm going to take what he's having on his wrist. He tells the bartender, I want that, what he has on his wrist. I go, oh, you want to know about Jesus? He goes, no, that's white wine and Jack Daniels, right? I said, oh, no, he didn't. And I said, wow. I said, okay. And then, it was like, I remember going home, going to church that Sunday, and I'm just sitting there like this. And my wife goes, why are you like that? Why are you not praising and worshiping? He didn't hear my prayer. What's your prayer? I wanted him to not kill him, but just put lightning on their tongue, so they won't talk no more. Yeah, he's not going to do that. No. So it wound up being that I made an effort I became a student of comedy, and I followed all the clean comedians. And because when you're doing stand-up, you're trying to find your voice. You're trying to, what is this guy about? What is his niche? What is his thing that's going to separate him from everybody else? Well, the clean thing is one thing, but it's like Jim Gaffigan, and why is he talking like, he's got that little voice. And you got, Brian Regan, he's clean, and you had all these other
the whole dry bar concept is clean, right?
Oh yeah, it's all. They're all clean.
I think of it as like Mormon comedians or something.
Yeah,
but it's not.
No, it's not. No, because when I went up there, it was like,
you were in Utah one time.
Yeah, I was in Utah. I had to go tape in Utah, and they looked at me like I was the waiter. Where do we sit, sir? I'm like, I have no idea. I'm going on here.
Park my car.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, and it's funny because I was at the door because that's where they're doing their intro, and the lady comes right before I'm about to go on. She looks at me, so where are the refreshments? And I said, I have no clue. I'm in the green room. I'm one of the performers.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
You exposed her.
I mean, it's when I went
It
to
is kind of a
when I
weird-
went to Utah, I love the people. They're great. But I'm gonna be honest with you. My wife called me. She goes, "How's Utah?" You know how we watch Forensic Files? All of the killers are here. They all look the same.
It's like I went to Rexburg, Idaho. I sing in a quartet, and we did a gig in Rexburg. Right, Rexburg
I love quartets, by the way.
Thank you. Rexburg is like the Salt Lake City of Idaho. Okay, it's like one of the first places.
Say no more.
Okay, so we walked up. Everybody's blonde hair, blue eyed, like 6 foot tall.
Yep.
And we my quartet. We were walking up to this place like a Denny's, but it's not. It's something up north. And we get there, and we're about to walk in. There was this group of teenagers, these hoodlums, like sitting around talking and whatever. And they turn around like, "How are you doing?" And they open the door for us.
Yeah.
And they're all nice.
Yeah.
And we're like, we thought they were gonna like.
They have the most cleanest. I'll be honest. They have the most cleanest Denny's ever. And I mean, you feel safe at this Denny's. Like they can have
There's
a
no
waffle,
dead flies.
They can have
in
a
the
Waffle
window.
House, and it would be the
Cleanest.
They can have a Dairy Queen with no dead flies in the window.
That's right.
Basically, it's weird.
It's very clean.
Yeah.
The air does something to you when you're up there.
Okay, so tell me highlight of your career.
Ooh. Highlight of my career. Actually, I think the one night that I really couldn't sleep was when I got my buddy, I'm all name dropping, Gabriel Iglesias. My buddy Gabriel, he was, when he invited me to do a guest spot at the AT&T Center.
Whoa.
That was super cool because I got a chance to do 8 minutes, the tightest 8 minutes I ever done, and just bam, 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 just rock it in my hometown.
Wow.
And when they said, the host said, where's Cleto? Like everybody just,
That's awesome.
and that was like, I thought I was going to pee my pants while I was walking up the stairs. And it wind up that I just was comfortable. I didn't want to get off, but I didn't want to go over and, I'll stay my welcome, because you have them right there and you're like, oh, it's time to get off. And it goes by so fast. And, so it's so funny because people I get when I go do gigs like in, the Midwest and everywhere else, they're kind of like, you remind me of Gabriel Iglesias. You're fluffy, and I go, and I tell them, they freak out when I tell them, I go, well, we're good friends. We started doing stand-up together. We met a long time ago around the same time. And I go, and then, we know each other. We worked together before. And then they go, oh, what happened to you? Like, what happened?
No way.
Yeah, they'll tell you what happened to you. And I'm like, well, we made different choices in life. He went this way, made millions. I went this way, made babies. So, I mean, it's like, I wanted a family and, he just wound up doing his thing. And he is huge. He is one of the funniest comedians out there. He's all the success is well deserved. I've seen him work. I've seen him grind. So, for me, it's like, my wife always thinks, do you think if you didn't have a family, you'd be famous? Yes.
Anyway,
so
next question.
yeah,
I made a choice. It's fine. It's fine.
No, I go, no, I wouldn't want it any other way. This is exactly what I want. I mean, I get the best of both worlds, and it's awesome.
Okay, big dream. What do you want to do? Where you want to be at?
I want to be a chef.
No.
No, actually, dream for me would be still want to have my own sitcom, my own show. I just don't know if I would go the Hollywood route. Mm-hmm. There's just too much politics of it going on right now, and I don't want to be part of that. I'd rather do it somewhere else and then, have it done here and then just
Tim Allen and Reba.
yeah, exactly.
And
Roseanne. Yeah. I just, for myself, it's I don't know. I just, for me, it's like when I was in the hospital, I was thinking about that, I didn't know if I was going to do stand up again. I didn't even know I was going to leave the hospital. And I was just kind of like, you have all these things you're thinking about. And I was kind of wondering, well, when I get out, Lord willing, if I get out, just what am I going to do? And, I didn't have any hesitation anymore. I just wanted to go for it all. And before I would have like, oh, well, I'm not ready. Da, 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 da. Now it's like,
what do you have to lose?
Yeah, exactly. Just go for it.
Yeah.
So
I heard that from people who have cancer or who've beaten
Mhm.
cancer. All of a sudden, life is short,
Yeah.
and I should go for the big dream that I want.
Yep.
And so you want a sitcom? That's
I want.
interesting.
I
I
would
love
love to
it.
have. I've always wanted a sitcom. I always wanted my own show. I've always wanted to. I remember I was wanting to be busy. Like I remember when I first started doing stand up, I wanted to be like Bob Saget,
Mhm.
where he had the sitcom and then he had the
stand-up.
America's Funniest Videos,
Yeah,
Oh,
and then
right.
on top of the stand up.
Yeah.
And then for me, it was like then after that was like it's Ryan Seacrest. He had his radio show, and then now you have Steve Harvey,
Mhm.
where he's got all the shows. He had his sitcom, he had his Family Feud, he had the radio show, and then he had another show. I
That
can't
should be
remember.
what your sitcom is about. A guy who has all those things.
Well, it's funny because we wind up doing a sitcom about let's see 9 years. It was 10 years ago when I did my first sitcom. We had a pilot, we had 12 episodes, and it was one season, and it was called the Cleto Show, and it was produced by Eva Longoria.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so
That's when Tony and her were married.
Yes,
and
yes, she was
her
living
parents
here.
were living at Canyon
Uh-huh.
Lake and all that.
and she was here, and we, it was awesome. The CBP Survivors Brothers Productions produced it,
Yeah.
and we wind up making some. I mean, we had some awesome bands. The show was about.
Was it like a talk show?
It was about a guy who wanted his own talk show, but had no money or experience,
I love it.
and it was all grassroots. We were actually going to they saw we were actually doing this concept. We were actually going to like cha-chas
Mm-hmm.
in that back room. We brought a homemade stage. We can only interview so many council people, and we're just like, who are we gonna get now?
Henry Cisneros.
And then we had like a comedian. I would call him to the couch like Carson.
hilarious.
And we had these Rent-A-Center couches, that we got, as a sponsor. And we did this grassroots thing. And one of the Survivors Brothers happened to be at one of our shows that we were doing. And he goes, this is a show. And we're like, yeah, that's what we're trying to say. But at the same time, he said, no,
He's like, no, B-roll.
this
behind
is like
it.
a hybrid, like a hybrid show.
Yeah.
And that's what they turned it into. And
Wow.
they had a connection with Eva. Eva came on board, and we wound up doing a season, but it didn't go anywhere because it was just mostly local.
Yeah, you were ahead of your time. You were ahead of your
I was a
time.
pioneer.
I bet.
Absolutely.
I was a pioneer. I paved the way for all the other comedians. I will take my cut now, guys. So,
Just throw me a little.
little
Eva,
bit.
I think we need to go ahead and release it now.
yeah, right.
Let's
Yeah.
do it again.
I love that idea. When you were talking about the guy that wants to have a talk show, wants to have a stand-up career, wants to have a sitcom, wants to have whatever.
It's an interesting story.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you where it stemmed from. My son Samuel was just born. 2 days later, they were having the Last Comic Standing auditions at the River Center Comedy Club. I'm right there. I have about an hour. At the time, I had an hour and 15 minutes of material. I went in to go do my audition, and I bombed. It's a 2 minutes he had, and I bombed so bad. I went in, I didn't prepare. I went in there cocky, not confident, cocky.
Oh.
And I thought I could just pull that out of my hat and just go. No. I wind up bombing so bad in front of and I'm thinking, I'm done. They showed the bloopers of that. I'm done. Because I was just like, when you're like, that's how I was.
No.
So I went home and I was having a pity party in my room. My wife's trying to get me out of the room. I said, leave me alone. I'm done. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to anybody. And all my friends are calling, texting me. How was it? You know how it was. That's why you're calling me. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I remember I was so upset, and my wife came in and she started talking sense. And, do you want to, have a pity party? And, you're funny already. You don't need, this and da-da-da. And at the time, I wasn't really performing at clubs as much anymore. I was doing more corporate shows, and I was at churches, and I was doing, my act. So it wasn't going to affect me that much. So I thought about it. Oh, okay, maybe you're right. And so I wind up, I remember going to church, and I remember just kind of like all right, God, whatever you have planned for me, I'm gonna do whatever it is. I'll be obedient. And that was just embarrassing. I wish you would have got me out of there sooner. And I'm doing all this right. And then finally, I just felt good. And then I got a call from a buddy of mine, and that same day, right when I got home, and he goes, "Hey, how would you like to have your own show?" I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Yeah, and it's gonna be on this. There's a new thing called Livestream, and you might." And that's me. I'm like, okay. And so he gave me a laptop, two lights like this, and some, I don't know, some kind of app or something. And he goes, "Here you go. Make a move. What kind of a show you want to make?" So I said, "Okay, I want to make a show about a late night talk show in San Antonio, and represent San Antonio." And we found out and we were like so grassroots on this whole thing. So from that, I remember we did the Cleto show. We finished producing. I went to go promote it on San Antonio Living, Great Day SA. And I remember I went to San Antonio Living, and Shelly Miles was laughing at me for 3 minutes, the whole 3 minutes about my name. We made jokes about my name for 3 minutes. We didn't even talk about my show.
Oh, man.
And I was like, she laughed so hard that, the next day, like she called me, texted me and said, "You're welcome back anytime. Our numbers went up the roof. We're just having so much fun. Everyone enjoyed it." So she brought me in, and they were trying to make me like this co-host, but I couldn't read a teleprompter to save my life. I'm like, "And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon," I was that I kept moving my head. So I go, "Look, I don't want to be a coach. I'd rather be the man on the street guy. That's who I'm more comfortable with that."
Yeah.
They're like, "Okay, good, because you can't read it anyway." So I wind up going, and my boss just got back from Utah, and they had a conference there, and there was a guy named Big Buddha doing like the Where's Cleto thing, and they asked the producer,
Where's Buddha?
His name, it's actually Big Buddha. That was his name, because he was a big Samoan guy, but he wasn't a comedian. So my boss was like, "Do you think Cleto can pull it off?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, everyone in San Antonio pretty much knows who he is, and yeah, I think so." And I remember I wind up doing the first day, and I thought I was gonna get canned the first day, and I wasn't even hired yet. And I was just an audition, and they were like, I have the earpiece on, and they're like, I'm trying to get used to it. And and out of all days, someone decides to kill themselves downtown. Well, guess who's downtown?
Oh.
Me.
Oh, the comedy guy.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, don't
Who
call me to
deflects.
go over there to this guy.
I don't even work for you.
I'm hearing, okay, guys, Cleto's dead. Cleto's dead. I'm like, whoa, hey, I'm not. I'm right here. Hey, I'm right here. And that's what I got. Stop saying that my kids are watching. Stop saying Cleto's dead. And I thought everyone on the TV could hear me. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing, no, we're not. We mean you're done for the day. We'll cut you. That's what we do. Well, say that then. Don't say Cleto's dead.
I don't know the jargon.
And then the first thing when I got on the first thing, they were like, I had to ask the guy. I was so nervous. And my first question, they give me the assignment. This is my big assignment, my first day. Interviewing the guy who takes down the Christmas lights. Woo! Boy, that exciting. I'm like, this guy's dressed like Go Diego Go and all his little straps and everything. And I'm like, hey, and then I was so nervous, like, how long does it take you to take down the lights? And he's like this. He's like, well, sir, it takes a long time to take down the lights. Oh, okay. My next question. Oh, okay. How long does it take you to take down the lights? I asked the same question on live TV. I did. I asked the same question, and I hear my producer, you asked the same question. Ask him something else. Did they drop you off when you came here today? Oh man, it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. And then I hear, we come back from commercial, and she's telling me I'm live, but she goes, Cleto, you're hot. Cleto, you're hot. I'm like, I'm also married. Can you stop telling me that? I didn't take the harassment class yet. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Haven't even been to HR.
I haven't been to HR. Thank you. So that was my first day. And then I remember I was on this audition for 3 months. And I went to my boss. I go, hey, Hans, if you don't know if I'm going to be hired by now, I ain't waking up this early in the morning. Because when we were in our interview, I asked him, I said, what time do I need to be at the station? He goes, about 4:30. I go, okay, cool. I'll go pick up my kids, drop them off at home. They go, no, in the morning. I go, You did hear I was a comedian, right? I'm starting my second dream at 4:30 in the morning. Are you kidding me? And I was like, man. And now I remember when I went to go have the audition, the interview with my boss, they told me the boss, the news director wants to have an interview with you. He wants to talk to you. And I go, oh, okay. Great. News director, intern. That's all that means. VP,
You didn't know he was the
GM,
boss.
all this means something to a comedian, to me, a person.
Yeah.
News director, I don't know what that is. That's an intern to me.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're at the restaurant. Ask me how long you've been doing comedy.
So how long?
Yeah. Can you pass the ketchup? This is how I'm talking to my boss.
Oh, no.
I'm talking to my boss like this, and he's just laughing because he understands I have no clue who he is.
That's awesome.
It was the most
But he was comfortable enough.
He was comfortable.
He was comfortable to let you do that.
To let me do that. He let me go too. And I'm just like, I was so calm because I would have been, I would have been that guy again. But no, I get back to the station and Shelly Miles.
He never told you?
No, he didn't tell me. Shelly Miles looks at me and I get back to the station. She goes, how did the interview go? He didn't show up. What do you mean? No, the intern.
Just the news director.
I go, the intern showed up. He goes, intern? You mean the news director? Yeah, him. Come here. Is that him over there? Yeah. What's he doing in that office? I went over there. I'm like knocking on the door. Yoo-hoo. Can I get a do-over?
And he died laughing. I bet he thought it was
He
funny.
laughed so hard. He goes, that was one of the best interviews I ever had. Thanks. He goes, I never laughed that hard before in my life. And then he told me, I'll never forget, when I got hired, they gave me my Facebook account, and where's Cleto? And they said, yeah, you're going to run this, manage this, and all this. I said, okay, cool. Well, I got introduced to trolls.
Oh.
And my first couple of days, I remember I got back to the station and one of the reporters says, are you seeing what they're putting about you on Facebook? I'm like, no. And I'm looking, who's this clown? Get him off my TV. I'd rather hear dogs get it on. And, this is, go shoot yourself and all this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. And I felt like the station wasn't defending me. So I started answering everybody. You know what? You talk a lot of noise in your mom's basement.
Ooh.
Does your mom know you're using her computer? And because I came from comedy, I had fans that liked me, and not this. And they were like telling me all kinds of stuff, and I was like, the reporter, you gotta get tough skin. I gotta put down there because I had my privileges taken away because I said, hey Haas, doesn't take much to change the channel.
Oh, and they don't want you.
They don't want you to
the
change the channel.
Keep them engaged.
One of the reporters called my boss and said, you better go get a hold of your boy. He's over there telling people to change the channel. So I didn't have Facebook privileges for a while. So
That's funny.
God, what a weird
that was
story.
it was a true story too. It's like this. I wish I can't even make that up. I was like, man, I can't even write that. I was like, wow, this is just from my lap.
So you are doing a comeback thing. You're going to record it. It's going to be at
Las Chiladas Mexican restaurant,
and which is on Northwest Military, and that's going to be November
12th and 13th.
12th, 13th,
Friday and Saturday.
and that'll be recorded as part of. You're going to use that to produce your next special.
I'm going to use that. Hopefully, I get good footage enough good footage to produce a stand-up special because it takes time. Mm-hmm. This one actually for me, I've had enough time to write it out and perfect it. It's just, and I got a couple of trial runs. I have a show in Kerrville on the 9th. I'll be doing 2 shows there, and then the following week I'm doing one at Drop Zone Cafe on the 11th for Veterans Day, and
Very cool.
all veterans get in free for that
Are
show.
these shows available to the public?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do we find out?
You can go to my website, CletoRodriguez.com. Give me about 30 minutes. I haven't put it up yet, but
You do it on the way home while you're talking.
Yeah.
Or you could go on my
Honey.
Instagram, Cleto Rodriguez, and Facebook, Cleto Rodriguez. Now my new Facebook account, because my other one got hacked. Yeah, so
CletoRodriguez.com. So that's pretty cool. You get your name. You don't have to come up with Cleto Dot or with whatever.
Yeah, it's
Cleto
like
comedian.
people have always told me, drop the Rodriguez, just go like Madonna. Cleto. I go, yeah, that just, it sounds like a scientific word for fungus. I don't even want to.
Well, when I typed in earlier, I was typing in Cleto and it said Celtic.
Yeah.
So when you type it
That's
in
how
up,
white I am.
on my phone, it does it perfectly.
I on my phone, I put Cleto in and I got papers automatically come out. I don't know what's going on. And it's so funny because speaking of papers, someone asked me, so you have a lot of antibodies in you now? I go, yeah, a lot like my family. They came unannounced. None of them had papers. So,
that reminds
yeah.
me of your
The
borderline.
borderline.
He told you
Yeah,
you're borderline
borderline
diabetic. He's like, don't say borderline to
Yeah.
a Mexican. He's
We'll
like,
cross that on
we're
purpose.
gonna cross that.
We'll cross it on purpose. Give me the fried. Let's go. Yeah, these were those are classics right there.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, so I'm doing a lot of new material. I'm doing a lot of my COVID material.
But are you still doing ethnic stuff, like making it funny to be Mexican?
It's more like family,
Yeah.
and just my dad. Like, I'll tell you about my dad. He told me he doesn't like my aunt. They have a love-hate relationship. They love to hate each other. His sister-in-law.
Okay.
And he cannot stand her. Like, he will. The other day he comes and goes, you know what, mijo? Your aunt, she wears pants because she's a werewolf woman. Yeah, she's a werewolf woman. She's like just hairy, I guess.
Oh.
And he goes, that's why she wears pants. And I go, Dad, you can't say that. Oh, is this not my house? I thought this was my house. I thought I can say this. This is my house, right? I go, you can't say that. I go, why not? She's right there. She's right there. And she's like, I don't listen to him. So he's a moron.
Yeah, so she doesn't give him any credibility, so he can say whatever he wants.
They go at it, and he does not care. He really does not. My dad's old. You remember Archie Bunker? He's the Mexican one. He has no filter whatsoever. He told me, mijo, if I was you, I'd go kiss your aunt goodbye, because tomorrow I'm calling ISIS. I said, ISIS? I go, you're calling the terrorist group? No, ISIS. ICE, immigration, ISIS. They're going to come. She's gone. Go kiss her goodbye. And I go, Dad, you can't call ICE. She's born here. We'll see.
We'll see.
That's what he said. After I'm done with her, they're going to think she's part of the cartel. I'm just saying right now.
Oh, my gosh.
That's awesome.
So, that to me, that's always been funny to hear people just kind of make fun of where they're from or make fun of how they grew up. And everyone can do it, And I mean, whether it's, anybody can do it.
Yeah, it's just the, comedy is it's just so much fun. I think we need to laugh more these days. Everybody's a little sensitive and everybody's a little bit too, relax. Relax. I mean, the one thing I had to stop watching the news when I was in the hospital. It was just bringing me down. I was like, man, I don't know. I just, at the same time, you're just kind of like, what can we do? I remember putting a post out there during the elections, and I was like, hey, comedians, whatever you do, please go that extra mile this week and make people laugh and get their mind off of all this stuff that's going on.
Well, thank you for that, because we do need to laugh. And you are you were put on this earth for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I believe it was to make people laugh, and you're following your calling. However, that road twists and turns, you've had to get back up and figure out a new way to go down that road, but you're still staying with that. And I guarantee you, when that Alamo Dome crowd cheered, that's real. That's the people of San Antonio love you, man. Yeah. And they know who you are.
I was really overwhelmed with the folks from San Antonio and the surrounding areas, just that you never really realize how many people you impacted with with just being you and who you are. And I was overwhelmed with the thoughts and prayers from everybody, that sent them. And it was so many. And I mean, my sister was like FaceTiming, and she was like, bro, I'm not even exaggerating. You had like most of San Antonio people just praying for you. And I remember this was a big old man. Oh, tell him I said thank you. Tell him I said thank you very much. I appreciate it. I mean, I didn't know what was going on for the first 5 days of what they were doing. They were having fundraisers and all kinds of different things. Awesome. But it was just a big thank you to everybody that had me on their prayer list and, all the prayer warriors out there, because I really felt it. I really felt it when I was in the hospital.
I gotta tell you a funny story real quick.
Okay.
Wait, she's gonna be funny. Hold on.
It's funny to me. I posted some random post on Facebook one day. I don't even remember what it was. I think it was one with, anyway, it doesn't matter. A girl that I know from San Antonio randomly said, hey, how's Cleto? In my comments that had nothing to do with you. And
wow.
I was like, how's Cleto? So I tagged your wife in the
People in San
reply.
Antonio
I was
just
like,
walking up to people, how's Cleto? Have you seen him?
I was like,
he's in the hospital.
I was like,
okay.
We don't know each other that well.
How's
But
Cleto?
yeah. And so I tagged your wife in the comment. I was like, Lynette, how's your husband? And she replied. Yeah. It was just random. Out of all these comments, I had one that was about you.
When I was in the hospital, I mean, I had I did a Facebook Live just to let my fans and friends and family know how I was doing. It was an update, and I mean, I could barely I could barely talk. I was like, oh boy, whew. I kept saying that, and it wound up going viral, and it wound up, pretty much every media outlet was like, how can we get an interview and just talk about, it was all about the vaccine. And that's all it was. And then, and I mean, majority of them were like really, okay, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And get the word out there. And my wife was, I think she saw herself, I think she was very overwhelmed because she lost her father
Mm-hmm.
during this process. And he was 2 doors down from me, and that was rough. And he was in, he was fighting. He was already 77. And, I felt so bad for my wife because, she was a trooper. She was taking care of the home, taking care of the interviews, taking care of the kids. And not only that, but she was trying to get my mother-in-law taken care of and my father-in-law dealing with that and him. And then she still had her husband there, and I told her, don't worry about me. I'm good. I'll be all right. I had the best care I could get, and I originally started in Floresville.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I live. And then they wound up transferring me over and say, okay, here you go. And I went over there, and the Metropolitan downtown really took care of me. And, but thank you again to all that. And I have people now today coming up to me. You don't know me, but I'm glad to see you're doing well.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know me, and can I get a hug? And I'm like, this one lady, can I get a hug? I'm like, man, first of all, this is church. And this is my wife right here. Okay? It's like, but yeah, sure, I guess. And so we wind up, the people, but then again, I had the backlash too for not, being vaccinated. And it was not that I was an anti-vaxxer. I was diabetic. I was scared. I didn't know what to expect. And I always felt that it was, private matter for me, my family, and that kind of thing. But I see now why people were really upset with me. And because of the fact that I could give it to somebody and I could get someone sick and get their family in that position that I was in. And I never want that for anybody. I wouldn't want that for anybody. And I saw that and I said, okay, now I get it. But at the same time, it felt like no matter what I did before, it didn't even matter. Like you could have, helped an orphanage and no, that's it. And I remember I woke up one day and found out that there was a need just to share my experience. Excuse me. And people wind up relating to it and, whoever it helped or what it did, it just, you don't want that for anybody, So it was a rough deal. I mean, I had I've been on both sides of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. But yeah, it's, I had the backlash. I had people giving their opinion.
Yeah.
And
you gotta get that thick skin again.
I was like, pray for me. That'd be great. Yeah. So.
Well, thanks for coming on the show.
I think my arm has COVID now.
No, sorry about that. Yeah, it was like,
you were coughing too. I'm the only one over here.
I was coughing too.
I was trying to.
Yeah, well, producer Austin, he's amazing at figuring out audio, so he'll mute it out.
You'll be able to get that. You'll just show me.
7 convulsions. All right. Well, we've been here for 4 hours, so
you're welcome.
This is worth the trip.
I didn't want to stop. That's every once in a while. Every single podcast we've ever done has been that good.
How long is your podcast?
It's like 20 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's been
the
almost
average is
minute
about
out.
45.
Half of the stuff I just said right now will be gone.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut it down. We go. We're like Joe Rogan in that one way. Is that we just roll, and when it
he
feels
got COVID too. He wound up he beat that as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he had backlash a little bit.
He's battling with CNN right now.
Oh, is he really?
Oh yeah, because they were making fun of him, specifically calling ivermectin or whatever it's called a horse drug or whatever, and he's throwing it back at them, and he has more listeners than they do.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, you know what, I'm gonna play this game with you and try to make you realize that y'all were trying to twist it in a certain way and it wasn't that way. So that's been an interesting story to follow. But that's not what we talked about here. We talked about love and gossip, good gossip.
Good gossip, yeah.
And you know what? I think I was heading in that direction with you. Is that you are a good person and you're doing the best you can with the life you've got, and you're making the world better. and you're making San Antonio area better. And everybody who knows you likes you. Everybody who sees you do your comedy really enjoys you, and you bring joy to the world. And that's what we're here to. Joy to the world. We're here to. Sorry.
Just throw that in.
Yeah,
Sometimes when I hear things, I just think of songs. Every time I hear a phrase, I can think of a song.
All of a
I
sudden,
can do
like,
it.
oh, I'm nowhere. Freebird!
I walk around with a lighter.
He comes around, slow ride.
He would.
I've always wanted to do that, like at one of my shows.
Yell Freebird.
Just yell out like 80s songs, like Caribbean Queen. You know, like, all right, so this guy walks down the street.
Just
you know,
like 80s song tracks.
Yes, you know, yeah. A minute work, all right. And suck it down, chili dog. You know, it's like
Toto Africa.
Toto Africa. Jack and Diane. All right. So like, you know, my wife got so mad at me because the other day I was listening to Top 40, the Casey Kasem, and every Sunday it comes out. You know, sorry, let me just say no.
Here we go.
All right, so Casey.
Where's your mask?
I know. Where's my mask? Casey. I just got out 2 days ago. So Casey Kasem, he was on the air and he was like, it was 1980.
Is he still alive?
No. 1984, and here we are, John Cougar Milligan, Jack and Diane, and then I was there. My son, I don't know why he just got a kick out of us. Sucking on chili dog behind the taste freeze. And my son just like started laughing. He would thought I said the word booger. It was like,
I love it.
That's
Love
awesome.
it.
Oh man. Well, we better wrap this up.
yeah, I guess.
Get
Right?
you home.
I know. He's like,
He's
my
never gonna
arm's
stop.
fine.
He's like,
got
one of my
carpal
cameras
tunnel
died
here.
already.
He's like, oh, I got carpal tunnel. I was like, come on, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
I think he laughed more today than he's ever laughed in a podcast too.
Yeah,
was
he's
over there
like trying not
smiling.
to laugh out loud.
All right. Well,
Anyway, all right.
That's good for a comedian. That kind of makes me feel good.
there you go.
Yeah.
Till next time, Cleto Rodriguez. Thank you. Man.
Thank you very much.
That was
Yeah.
so
Check him out.
cool. So cool.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
got
No, you did it.
My one claim to fame.
I'm just a man. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right.
Thank
We'll
you.
see y'all
Y'all
next
have a good
time.
one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.